I want more.
Alright, yo, let's get into this Delta 8 shit. Because when I started doing my research on synthetic cannabinoids and their history, both in the United States and abroad, the shit fucked me up. Now, this Delta 8 thing has been really taking the news by storm, and we've talked about this subject before, you know? But as more and more states make up laws specifically targeting these Delta 9 analogs, or like these isomers, as they're more specifically called.
Okay.
It really had me dig deep to understand what's the big deal. Like, if it's already in the plant, why can't they just fold Delta 8 laws into Delta 9 laws? What's the hang up? But digging in, bro, shit's kind of sick out here, and the illicit drug market will always be extra. Remember those World Star days? People were smoking bath salts and shit like that.
Yeah.
People in Florida eating motherfuckers' face off, but we're like it was really crazy. And a lot of that stuff runs parallel to what's happening with this Delta 8 phenomenon with other synthetic cannabinoids, and I'm gonna use that term a lot, synthetic cannabinoids, because when you get a little bit deeper, when you understand what's really happening with how Delta 8 is manufactured and why people are looking at this one with the side eye, like, wait, hold up, what you really mean, Willis?
People just a little mad.
It's not mad, bro.
I'm salty. They're not getting the bag.
It's a great bag to get, but you gotta really understand the history of this shit, bro. So that's what I really want to dig into today. But how do you feel about it? I mean, what you know about Delta 8? Like, you feel like it's a big deal?
So, I mean, personally, I wouldn't buy it just because I like what I like and I know what I like, and I know for a fact, like, cannabis for me it's what I like. Now, I know Delta 8 is part of that, but I don't know who's processing that. So that's my problem with that.
I feel you. And Delta 8 is one of the more widely available cannabinoids out here, you know? Delta 9, you gotta go to a special shop for it. That's just regular THC. They made special laws for Delta 9. Shit like Delta 8 and other drugs that kind of slip through the crack, this synthetic shit, these designer drugs, I think they're all the more dangerous because they don't get the same kind of scrutiny, you know?
Yeah.
And so, let's scrutinize, bro. Let's really take a look at Delta 8. Let's figure out, yo, is this right for me and my community? It's cannabis, yes, but, yo, sometimes there's wolves in sheep's clothing, you feel me? And not everybody who gets to bang your colors is really on your team, you feel me?
But everybody's gotta eat.
Everybody's gotta eat, but at the expense of your community?
I feel like we were just having this conversation.
We were. It's a nasty game, bro.
The burger place on the street.
It's a nasty game.
They're not upgrading their stuff just because they want the tax to be lower. You feel me?
Yo, why change South Whittier? If I can keep South Whittier and keep eating off of these people, who cares if they get uplifted? I'm getting uplifted.
Yeah, they're making it bad.
That's not the kind of... I don't want to play that shit, you know? And so that's my perspective for this podcast. You feel me?
Okay, well, we'll get into that for sure.
We'll get into it for sure.
Let's give some special shout-outs. Yo, we gotta give a special shout-out to Ireland. We've been forgetting about Ireland.
We have been. Yo, shout out to Leinster. Yo, he's been holding this down for a minute, so I'm not too concerned. He knows that he got love in his heart.
I've already skipped it for 2 episodes, so Ireland, shout-out. Yo, let's give a shout-out to Oregon. Yo, they've been keeping up.
Love Oregon.
Shout-out to Phoenix. Yo, actually, special shout-out to... Her name was Jamie, who helped me out, and Anna.
Out of what shop?
Soul Flower Shop. It was like downtown Phoenix. Yo, dope vibes. Shout out to them especially. Also, special shout out to California people for keeping us up, for sure.
Yeah, that's everybody down from San Diego all the way up to Shasta County, man. Let's go.
And we can't forget about Mexico. Finally, things are getting moved over there, so we're definitely excited about that. We might have to take a little trip to Mexico and see what it's all about, you know?
See.
But we can't forget about our number one sponsor.
The ones that have been holding us down since I was in Pampers. Well, maybe I wasn't smoking back then, but yeah. I could tell luxury at a young age, you know? And the first time I saw the glint of that green grinder in my eye, the first time I saw that exquisite rolling tray, I knew, even as a young man, that, yo, these guys got their fingers on the pulse of the West Coast smoking culture, you know? So, see what I see on the Green Grinders Club website.
GreenGrindersClub.com. The rattle moves. Yo, alright, Delta 8. So let me give you a little bit of my perspective.
Yeah, talk to me, bro. Talk to me.
So,
well, first, can you brief the people, if this is their first time listening to a podcast about Delta 8, can you tell them a little bit about what it is?
I'll let you break that down.
Okay.
You do a really good job of that. And
I appreciate that.
I love when you the time you broke it down when we were going to Nevada. Yo, I felt like a little kid at like elementary school, just hearing the whole process of like the way the water evaporates. Yo, I was into that.
So, cannabis, it's funny, and the deeper we get into it, the more that we realize that there's a lot of cannabinoids, but it's just one major molecule that has different groups moved around. We have two receptors that cannabinoids attach to, the CB1 and the CB2 receptors. And the length and style of the fit and interaction with that receptor is what gives us our trademark high, you know?
Yeah.
Now, Delta 9 THC holds onto the receptor and releases it. Holds on and releases it. And so, because of that, we get a really nice wavy high. CBD tickles the receptor, so you don't get the psychoactive effects.
It doesn't stick.
But you get a lot of the anti-anxiety, anti-inflammatory. CBG interacts with the relationship of that receptor a little bit different, you know? All of them. THCV, the time, length, and style in which they interact with these receptors is key.
Yeah.
Now, cannabis has a ton of these, but Delta 8 is made in very small quantities naturally, and it interacts with the receptor too. But lately, we've been seeing a rise of hemp-derived, quote-unquote, hemp-derived Delta 8 THC flooding the market. Now this stuff, you can't get at a regulated shop, but the head shops, the places that you can buy salvia, K2, spice, horny goat weed, they got the Delta 8 in full supply. They're selling it like they got their own fucking weed shops, you know?
Yeah, they're that big rhino. Yeah, they give you that Delta 8 right next to that.
Yeah, exactly. Yo,
pick up your rhino and pick up your Delta 8 right here at the smoke shop.
Now, because cannabis is so new and even Delta 9 hasn't been really scrutinized like that, it makes me feel some type of way that the same places that are selling kids salvia are selling them Delta 8, you know? And so, you know my perspective, that's my primer, but you tell me why you think, yo,
so
this might be the lick.
Can they not do it right? Can they not do it without synthesizing it or making it like bad for you to consume and still be able to make it like a Delta 8? Because if it's hemp derived, and hemp's supposed to be okay for you, right? Or at least the way they try to break it down to you, as in, oh, hemp is okay.
Well, I feel like you're oversimplifying the issue, because it's not that it's hemp derived that's the issue. It's that they're not deriving the Delta 8 from the hemp. All Delta 8 that's on the market, or I'm gonna say a comfortable 95% of the Delta 8 that's on the market is synthesized from CBD. They'll take a vat of CBD, drop it in some homemade chemicals. I don't know, baking soda. I got baking soda. So cook it up, put it in a little mixer, drop some hydrochloric acid, do some bam, and when you get it back, now it's this Delta 8 shit.
Let me drop some knowledge.
Drop that.
So, I think it comes down to this. How many people don't actually want to have an actual cannabis brand, you know, where they can sell? But the fact that these laws are so difficult to be able to get a permit, yo, these people all of a sudden say, yo, well, I need to find a lick, and what I know is how to process this. I know about weed. I know how to grow. I know everything there is to know about it. And they say, well, if I can't get a permit to do this, yo, I'm going to get my bag otherwise. So now if I have to sell Delta 8 and I know I can move it, yo, this guy from, where's he from? From like Tennessee, Delta 8. Yo, his thing was up 20% in sales. He brought in $60,000 a month. Then his sales went up by 80. He's making more than $200 a month. Yo, we all got to eat, and if the laws aren't allowing us to be able to be productive, even as a black man or as a Latino, because they seem to shut us down a lot, like more than they do to like white people, you know, they make it very difficult for us to get any type of permit. And they know that we don't know how to use computers like that. So that's another thing, yo. We can't say we're wrong about that.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
We are underserviced in terms of like cyber tech and shit like that. Yo, yeah, you're right.
I mean, we were blessed. We know what's up, but there's a lot of people who
in my own community who don't know.
Yeah.
Are typing with one finger. You know
I mean,
what I mean?
we talk about what's the copycats down the street. You know, they're charging an arm and a leg and another arm just to be able to print something out. You feel me?
Yeah.
Why? Because they know a lot of people don't know how to or don't have a computer at home to be able to.
So I think you bring up a really interesting point from the businessman's perspective, where
I'll drop the mic.
Mic drop. Okay, mic drop.
But tell me why you think.
So
break it down a little bit more.
Because I feel like you're being really sympathetic to, yes, they're cultural capital interests, but they're still capital interests, and that mentality gives us a fucked up earth. It gives us fucked up communities. You have to understand how this stuff is made, you know, and just because it can be done right doesn't mean that there's not the propensity for people to do bad stuff. We just got over the vape crisis, bro. Remember the vitamin E acetate scandal where, everybody figured out how to make carts. Now motherfuckers cutting it with lotion. You got that popcorn lung. Motherfuckers is dying off of heavy hitters, allegedly.
Allegedly.
I'm not trying to get sued, you know what I mean? But
it's facts.
That's facts. A lot of these...
Allegedly.
Allegedly, a lot of these manufacturers were getting pirated and copied their packaging, and people were selling illicit cannabis products that were meant to maximize their profits and minimize the amount of cannabis used in the product. I'm gonna flip that to this Delta 8 thing. There's no regulation. People are making Delta 8 at home from bulk CBD. Yeah, you'll take some hemp-derived CBD and then drop it in a vat with rat poison and some other shit, and then sell it right back to the community.
Yeah.
And there's been history of people dying off of synthetic cannabinoids that have not been cut right, you know?
Yeah, and then that's some other shit.
But it's not some other shit. It's the same stuff. People taking cannabis and trying to make something like it at home in order to circumvent regular laws. If you're not going to let me sell weed, I'm going to sell something that works a lot like it. You know?
So what's the solution? Give me a solution here.
I'm still bitching about it. Hold on. I haven't even thought about the solution, you know?
Okay.
It's frustrating, bro. We just got over this vitamin E acetate scandal, and I'm as pro-cannabis as the next man, you know? But you can't not everything that is for you is good for you, you know what I mean? Yeah, Delta 8 is out here. Yeah, it's easily accessible, but understanding the supply chain dynamics, understanding how that Delta 8 got into that package. Didn't we hit the Glass District in Los Angeles? How many booth counterfeit Delta 8 packagings did we see? You can just go and buy Delta 8 packaging in bulk. You just, let me get 30 of those bags. I'm moving this shit out of my garage, you know? The fuck? And that's the cannabis community that you want? That's not the one that I want.
And tell me a little bit more about like when you once did like BHO and all that, yo.
So
I'm only so easily produced.
I'm speaking from experience. There was a time where I was blowing wax, you know. I had a great line on some mid-level trim, you know.
Yeah.
My local shop had all the supplies you needed, everything you needed. The glass cylinders. If you wanted to buy bulk lighter fluid, you could get that, you know. You blow lighter fluid through that shit and you're making wax at home.
Okay.
And the trap shops, the ones that are unregulated, will buy it from you. They don't know that you made the shit in the kitchen and, your homie just went and took his shit and didn't wash his hands and now he's blowing your shit, you know what I mean? Like, you don't know what's going on with these products. But because it has a nice package, because they use the weed leaf iconography, they're allowed to sell it to you.
So then maybe Delta 8 needs to get regulated. I mean, you can't even regulate cannabis, but I guess.
The more I think about it, bro, the more I'm cool with us just nixing this shit. Like, Delta 8...
It's completely gone.
It occurs so infrequently in nature, bro. I'm talking, this is like a micro metabolite of cannabis. Delta 9 comes in full supply. Delta 8, you'll be lucky if the plant produces 1% Delta 8. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You'll be lucky. It's even if you're trying to siphon it off, you know how big of a fucking grow you'd have to get in order to get any sort of...
Like Delta 8.
It's not commercially viable, but synthetically producing it is. And knowing that that's the way that they make it, and knowing how synthetic cannabis has affected the community. Let me pull up a couple of these Wikipedia articles, bro.
Okay, yeah.
Because this shit had me fucked up. Like, this is really what Delta 8 is doing to cats?
Elijah in his bag.
Synthetic cannabis, and I'm not just talking about Delta 8. things like K2, things like spice. These things are harmful to people because they're trying to be like cannabis and they're marketing themselves as a cannabis style high. Hey, it's harmless. Hey, it's from the earth. Hey, it's natural. Just a little different. But it's not, bro. When you hear some of these stories.
And so, who's the last person who got caught with, Delta 8? To say, like, has any celebrities actually been like, oh, yo, you're off the team because you were on Delta 8?
That's a great question. So, on October 20th, 2011, Louisiana State University, LSU,
okay,
they had to suspend their star cornerback because he tested positive for synthetic weed, not even real weed. That's a product of regulation in a really conservative state. Louisiana, they don't play that. Holden was forced to smoke synthetic cannabinoids, but look how that marred his career. Doesn't that sound familiar?
What was his name?
Tyrann Mathieu.
Oh, cornerback.
He was a cornerback, yes sir.
Yo, yeah, but he's killing it in the NFL. Like, he's killing it.
Is it?
Yeah, yo, I don't know if his team just got better or what it was, but
he plays for the Chiefs right now.
Yeah, he won a championship with them. Yo, he's a star, bro. He's good.
And he was smoking that K2.
So, but I think that comes a problem with, like, making this legal, because if they can't smoke actual cannabis, they're going to try to look for something else that's going to be similar to that, and this is where Delta 8 comes in.
So you think that they should just open the floodgates, let everybody...
So I don't think everyone, because I don't agree with the fact of them synthesizing it with something that's, like, bad for your lungs or bad for you in general, especially if you're telling me cats are putting rat poison.
Yeah.
Yo, that's wild.
If I pull up the next article, it tells you about how 33 people went to the... Let me see here. Nah. I'm not going to read every single story.
But people are dying off this. People are having, like, blood issues.
I want you guys to research these synthetic cannabinoids and see what they really are doing to people, and you would understand why I'm so staunchly against this. Because, yeah, I think it sucks that people are getting hemmed up for not having access to the real thing. But is that the solution? Just open up the floodgates and say, hey, yo, fuck it, nothing's illegal. You guys make the best choices for yourself?
Ooh, that's tough, because we can't even...
Where does that stop?
And because if you think about, like, even the edible situation, I think it was good the fact that they put a number on 100 milligrams. Because 500, 200... Yo, you taking more than 10 milligrams in one hit, it's crazy. You don't need all that. And same thing with, like, cannabis, like the flower, 30%, that's high. You don't need that much into your system. We need someone to regulate us. And unfortunately, I don't think Delta 8 should be in the market.
Yeah, I don't think it's...
I'm gonna have to agree with you now. I'll switch over. Let me hop on that boat.
Here we go.
I don't think Delta 8 should be on the streets, and I think you're right. I think they should next it completely gone, because it's synthesized, and until they can do it right, then yeah, why not?
Yeah, well, let's actually take a look at it. Let's study it. Let's see how it affects people, and if synthesizing it is the best way to do it, so be it. But let's all have this conversation instead of. And I want to talk a little bit about. I wanted to talk a little bit about gateway drugs, and how people come into head shops looking for cannabis alternatives, and cannabis will open the door for you in a couple different directions, whether it's real or fake. If you're gonna try salvia, you're gonna try Delta 8. What's next? They got these synthetic shits, this spice. They got some shit called AMBK2, this AK-47 fuck shit that is synthesized in a lab, and once these cannabinoids hold onto your receptors, they're never letting go. Yeah, motherfuckers gotta go into the ER on zombie mode,
some other stuff.
That's the gateway that gets opened up if you don't allow cannabis to go through the proper channels, And that's honestly, it's love for my community, not hate for others that I'm speaking on, I want everybody to get their bag, bro. Especially the guys who are being boxed out of this cannabis space.
Yeah.
But not everything that's for you is good for you, you know what I mean? And you gotta do it right. You gotta approach it the right way, and I don't like what I'm reading about this Delta 8 shit, bro. So I would caution anyone who's interfacing with the Delta 8.
That part, yeah.
Be careful, man. Be careful.
That part.
Alright, I'm gonna sign out. Let me get off my little soapbox. Thank you guys for listening. This is Elijah Luther King, the Digital Budtender,
your co-host Meyer,
and you've been rocking out to Out Smoking, the world's most potent podcast.
My guy said Luther King. Elijah